Hello, this is Yogeshwar 7000 again, and I'm back with another interesting and important topic. And today we'll be talking about transits, which is called Gochara in Sanskrit. So as we know that planets keep moving around in the zodiac and they have an impact on our day-to-day lives. So in specific, we'll be talking about the transit of Sun today. And as we know, of course, Sun does not move. There are planets which move around the Sun, but we consider movement of Sun because we are looking at it from sitting here from Earth. So in relative terms, Sun is moving, although it's not. Earth is moving around Sun, but as per Vedic astrology, we consider movement of Sun, and of course, Sun moves always in the forward direction. It's never retrograde. We know that. So we're talking about the transit of Sun in the first house. Now, what do we mean by this term, transit of Sun in the first house? Meaning which? That when Sun transits your zodiac sign, which is the ascendant or the first house, what is the effect? So all of us have different ascendants and different rashis, which are called moon signs actually. So when Sun transits through either these ascendants or rashis, they have an impact. I mean, all planets have an impact, but today we'll be talking about, in specific terms, Sun's impact when it transits our ascendant or the first house, either through the moon sign, which is the Rashi, or the ascendant, which is the Lagna. Now, ancient texts tell us that normally Gochara or transits should be looked at from where the natal moon is placed in somebody's birth chart, meaning where moon was placed when the person was born. So look at that zodiac sign and consider that as the first house when you consider Gochara or transits. And then try to figure out what these transits are going to be having, what kind of effects these transits are going to be having on you based on the astrological texts. So, like I said, first look at it from where the natal moon is placed, or where the moon was placed at the time of birth, and then also look at it from your ascendant. And all of us have different moon signs, meaning all of us have different placement of moon when they were born, and all of us have different ascendants, which means all of us were born in different time, place, and they all have different ascendants. So their impacts are going to be different based on the transits of planets, and today we're talking about Sun. So what happens when Sun transits the first house? So we can, like I said, once again, consider first what your moon sign is and consider it from that sign, and then also look at it from the ascendant. So what happens when moon transits in the first house from the Janma Rashi, or the moon sign itself, or the Rashi itself? So as per the ancient scriptures, the profession and finance of a person actually gets adversely affected. So one has to be very careful about the workplace and profession and finance related matters, because Sun is a very hot planet. It's some people call it malefic, some people call it krura, although it's very sattvic in nature, just like Jupiter is, but it's very hot and it's very krura, and it gives the effect of a malefic because planets get combust when they come in close proximity to the Sun. And also, it has a very, very strong impact on the zodiac it travels into. And Sun, as we know, travels the entire zodiac of 360 degrees, or 12 zodiac signs of 30 degrees each, in 12 months. So approximately it stays in one zodiac sign for 1 month each, because 12 times 1 month is 12 zodiac signs, which is 360 degrees. So like I said, the first house from the Rashi, or the moon sign, when it travels there are challenges related to profession and also with finances. So one has to be extremely careful. Money may be kind of challenging, and especially one has to be careful in the workplace or the place where he works as far as his profession is concerned. Now, as far as the relationships and marriage is concerned, again, since Sun is a very hot planet and sitting there in the Rashi in transit, of course, it has a direct aspect, 7th house aspect on the house of the spouse or the relationships or the marriage. So that's where the challenge begins. So it's not a very good place to be in when Sun transits your moon sign or the Rashi, because it's directly looking at your 7th house from the Rashi or the moon sign. And then, of course, there could be challenges because Sun is a hot planet. You could, lose your temper. You could get agitated. You could make statements which you probably should not make. And one has to exercise extreme restraint in matters concerning relationships and marriage. Very, very important. Also, since it's transiting the Lagna in terms of the moon sign, or the first house in terms of the moon sign, there will be a challenge to the health as well. Again, the logic is that it's a hot planet, and it has its malefic or cruel effect, as some people can call it. And health has to be looked at, very carefully. One has to be very careful as in regards to their health matters. The eyes, especially when Sun transits the first house from the moon or the moon sign, the eyes have to be looked at it one has to be very careful as far as one's eyes are concerned. And that has been written in the scriptures as well, as far as Sun's movement either in the ascendant or the moon sign is concerned. More in the moon sign. Also, since Sun represents the heart, so one has to be extremely careful, especially people who are heart patients or have other problems related to the heart, even sometimes blood pressure also, although blood pressure is not directly associated with Sun, but again, it's basically depending on how the functioning of the heart goes, and the heart is directly representative of the Sun. So whether it pumps blood properly or not, that will determine the blood pressure in your veins. So one has to be very, very careful. Also, it has been seen that when Sun transits the moon sign, which is the first house from the moon, one could be prone to accidents as well. So watch out for that as well. So, of course, it's a challenge. Unfortunately, when Sun transits the first house from the moon or the moon sign, or even the ascendant. So what do we do? What remedies do we do? Well, remedies are, of course, praying to Lord Sun, and the Gayatri mantra is directly related to the Sun. Aditya Hridaya Stotram, and people who have not watched my video on Aditya Hridaya Stotram, please, I would recommend, please go and watch that. It's a very powerful hymn which is sung in praise of the Sun God. So that will appease the Sun to some extent, and definitely matters may be not as problematic as they could be, but of course I'm saying that with the word of caution. This is a general remedy. Do not just go ahead and use it. Get a consultation from an experienced professional Vedic astrologer. Only then use these remedy of Gayatri mantra. And this is a general thing. It should not be used by everybody and anytime. There are rules how to use it, who can use it, how it is to be used, and whether it needs to be used or not. So there's a slight disclaimer here. Just don't blindly go ahead and start using Gayatri and Aditya Hridaya Stotram, although they are directly related to the planet Sun. So hopefully you enjoyed this little video, and in the meanwhile I will recommend subscribe to my channel and check out my website. There is a link below, and I will see you with an interesting topic very soon. Goodbye.